Hello, in this video I'm going to explain a basic methodology called the ABC method to classify inventories into different groups. The reason that we need it is a company may be holding lots of different stock keeping units. Some companies call this SKU. There are different names for them, but it is important to know what SKU means. Companies might be keeping lots of different stock keeping units, and it is important to categorize them as highly important, moderately important, and less important items. So that's what ABC method is going to help us do. So what's going to happen with the ABC method is this. We are going to be calculating the year's sales revenue from each item by multiplying the units sold with cost per unit to find how much contribution individual inventory items or SKUs having on our overall revenue. And then we are going to rank these in descending order based on the revenue contributions. And then we are going to start classifying these items as A items, B items, C items, right? So the first top 80% of the revenue contributions are going to be coming from the A category units. And you're going to see how we can calculate this next in an Excel file. So 80% of my revenue, it's a pretty big deal. And I should be allocating most of my attention and planning and organization efforts on these A category items. And the next 50% are going to be coming from B category units. Those are important revenue contributions too, but not as important as category A, right? But we still have to do some sort of planning and organizing for this kind of inventory SKUs. So the last 5% of your revenue contributions are going to be coming from C category items. And if you have time, after you take care of the planning and organization for category A and B items, you should be focusing on C items respectively. But this is a nice inventory classification method, but you should keep in mind that it is not considering anything else other than the revenue contributions. So the inventory, for example, might be a C category item, but it might be so crucial for your operations. The fact that that item is categorized under C category doesn't mean that you should just disregard those items. You should still plan for the inventory replenishments for those items as well. Okay, so let's see this in an example. So here in this table, we are given that we have 10 different items or stock keeping units. And then we are already given the number of units that we sell annually from each of these category in the second column. And in the third column, you see the unit cost in US dollars for each of these stock keeping units. And the task here is to classify these items as A, B, and C. Okay, so we can do this manually for sure, but of course, having Excel available to us, it will be much easier to do these kind of things in Excel. So let me switch to Excel in a moment. So I will have to stop sharing. Select Excel for sharing. All right, so now you see the same table, this table in Excel, right? So this is the raw data. So we will move on to the second tab. We see exactly the same information. We do have the stock keeping units, 10 of them. And we do have their annual sales in units and then their unit costs respectively. So these blank columns are going to be helping us calculate the necessary information so that we can classify these items as A, B, and C. Remember, category A items are the ones that are producing 80% of your total revenue. B items are the ones producing 15% of your total revenue. And C items are the ones that are producing 5% of your total revenue. Okay, So let's get started. For us to be able to calculate the revenue contribution percentages, we should know how much revenue we are getting from each stock keeping unit items, right? So what we're going to do here in column D, we're going to be calculating just that. It's basically the annual sales of each unit times their unit cost. Um, and let's do the same operation for every other by dragging this down. These are going to be the total dollar values of selling these inventory items to your customers, and these are dollar value contributions. So this cell here, I2, is simply adding all these numbers up, and this is actually the total revenue and sales in terms of dollar value. This is going to be very helpful when we try to calculate the contributions percentage-wise of these sales, right? So, and then this column E is going to be just keeping how much percentage-wise each of these items is contributing to our total revenue. And to find this, we are going to simply select the dollar value contribution and divide this by the total revenue that we keep here. Remember, I'm going to be using this total revenue for all of my calculations here in this column. And what do? I select this, and then I hit Command and T on my Mac. If you're using a PC, it should be F4 to add these dollar signs to keep this cell selected. Okay, I hit Enter. So already the format is in terms of percentage here, and then you just drag it down. You see that these are the percentage contributions of these units into my total revenue. If you select them all, you see that the sum is 100%. Okay, that's just a quick sanity check. All right, at this point, I should do something, right? I should just sort these stock keeping units in descending order on total sales or their contributions that they are making to total revenue that we have. Excel has a nice tool that's called under Data tab. It's called Filter. So what I will do is I'm just going to select the labels of these columns that I am working on. Just select the entire set of labels, and I will just hit Filter, right? So what this does is it gives me opportunity to filter this whole table based on the information that I have in each of these columns. So first of all, what I'm going to do, you just can do it by selecting column D or column E. It's not going to be making any difference. What you have to do is to come over here, hit this arrow button, and then you see that there's already a quick sort here right over there. And then, of course, your sorting has to be in descending order. Once you click on that, what this does is it is going to be sorting items in descending order according to or based on the percentage of total dollar sales contributions based on this column. Well, these are already sorted. Well, remember the criteria that we use in ABC classification. The first 80% contribution of your revenue should be, once your items are sorted in descending order, should be coming from category A items, right? So this person or this item is contributing 49% to our total revenue. And plus this would be 78%, right? So therefore, these two should be category A items. There is a much easier way to do it in Excel. So what we are going to be doing on the next column, we will be keeping the cumulative percentage up until that cell. So for the first one, the cumulative percentage is just going to be the first item, right? And then the second one is going to be cumulative, since we are calculating cumulative percentage contribution, the previous cumulative percentage contribution plus the immediate or marginal percentage contribution of the next item. If you hit enter, as you can see, this is the sum of this one and this one. And after this point, you can drag the whole formula down. You see that at the very end, we obtained 100% total. So then this is also another sanity check. What this is going to be doing for us, since it is going to be keeping track of the cumulative percentage contributions to our sales, now we can very easily see where the breakpoints are. Remember, the first 80% should belong to category A items, right? So first 80%, item 3 and item 6, Those are our important categories. Those they're falling under category A items. And then at this point, with including item 9 would increase this overall percentage to 85%, right? There's a gray area here, right? Since these first two items, item 3 and item 6, they are not really fully utilizing the first 80%. You might want to just say, I will label this either A and B, right? And then carry on to see like what the rest of the classifications are, and then we can come back and decide this later on. So let's assume that we are done with the category A, like first 80%. The next 15% should be coming from category B items. So 80% plus 15% would make 95%, all the way down to 95% would be classified as B items. So the remaining items are going to be C items, right? And now let's come over here, and then we see that there is a big jump from 80% to 85% versus 78% to 80%. So therefore, I would include this as B item, okay? As you can see, there is a gray area always when it comes to making this these kind of decisions in this classification method. Please take initiative to call it whatever matters for you, right? So I used the judgment because here I saw that 78% to 80%, there's only 2% increase, but from 80% to 85%, there's 5% increase. Therefore, I think it should belong to category B items. So what do we do now? So since we know that these two items, item 3 and item 6, are forming 78% of my total revenue contribution, I will be very careful when it comes to planning for the inventory levels. I should make sure that they are readily available for my customers or for me to make some further move on them. And I should be very, keeping a really good eye on whether their inventory levels are approaching to a critical level. We call this reorder point or safety stock levels. We are going to study these two concepts in the next chapter. Category P items, those are important too, but not as important as category A items. I should be still watching them closely. Category C items, if I have time, and efforts and the resources left, and then I should be allocating some of those in monitoring C items. So usually when it comes to inventory, when it comes to technology investments, we would do every kind of technology investment that we should, like installing new barcode systems or RFID systems for monitoring category A items. And then if we have resources and availability, we will be using those investments on category B and then category C. That's it. That's how we classify multiple different items under the ABC methodology.